So I thought I would make a video to teach you guys some things about turkeys. We've learned a lot about turkeys since having them. This is Boss Turkey, and that's his son Lazarus. Over there we have Scarlet Grace, and these are what's left of their last hatch, their last brood. Most of them look like the daddy. We've got one that's kind of a mix, and we already got rid of some that were the steel gray color. These are heritage breed turkeys, which means that they grow a lot slower, at about half the rate of the broad-breasted whites and the broad-breasted bronze that are raised. 90% of what you eat that comes from the grocery store or on Thanksgiving is a broad-breasted variety, because they're built to grow really quickly, and these guys are not. So it's going to take them twice as long, cover up his ears. But the meat's going to be really juicy. Not this one, not these babies. But you're not going to get as much white meat out of it though. So you're looking at an A cup if your butterball turkey at the grocery store is a D cup. A little bit difference there. So if you prefer the white meat, you probably wouldn't want to go with a heritage breed. But the reason I like the heritage breed, we bought them by accident because in 4-H my son needed turkeys for his project, and I bought the wrong kind of babies. The babies are called poults, not chicks. I bought him the wrong kind of poults, which worked out fine. He didn't win, but this is a leftover from that project, has become a pet. They have a lot of personality. They are very, very curious, a lot more curious than chickens are. And the heritage breed, they have a very good immune system. They're resistant to a lot of diseases. They can fly. You see that one way up there? She is the most curious one. I really want to keep that one and not sell her. But they also have good legs. The broad-breasted ones, they get so big so fast that sometimes they end up having leg problems, and they're not very good at keeping it as a pet if you wanted to keep it around. These guys are also very good foragers. I love to watch, especially Scarlet Grace eat. She'll get a piece of grass that has seeds on the end of it in her mouth, and she'll just right up it, and it's just interesting to watch her. They're very protective of the babies. They're not mean to the babies. Lazarus hatched last year and is named Lazarus because he could not get out of his egg by himself. The mother finally abandoned the nest and had left him behind as a non-hatcher. And so we were walking around the yard watching her with her babies, and she would make a little noise when she saw a hawk or a buzzard or anything she thought might be an eagle or a predator, and they would run underneath of her, or they would hunker down into the grass depending on which noise she made. So those were our first poults, and we really enjoyed watching her walk around with them. And then when I went back to clean out the nest a couple hours later, there was an egg that was half hatched, and it was cold. So I took it in and I got it warm, and I'm like, he is never going to make it. And I helped him out, which you're not supposed to do, and he did survive. So we thought he was dead, and he is not. So he is named Lazarus after Lazarus in the Bible that rose from the dead. Just a couple things about them though. This color is the traditional, almost wild turkey color. This heritage breed comes from when the settlers came and mixed black turkeys with the wild turkeys that were already here. So they're a little bit different DNA than the wild turkeys, even though he looks wild. There are similarities though. He's going to have the beard, and his son is younger, so much shorter beard that's kind of hidden in there. When their beard is small, it's called they're a Jake when they're young. When they get older, then they are a Tom. And with those broad-breasted varieties, those Toms can be like 45 pounds, where these guys are going to be more like 25 pounds. They have these beautiful feathers. He just went through a molt and got all new feathers. The feathers fall out, and they get new feathers. It's interesting to watch them grow in, because they get these things underneath of their tail that look like a straw, like a clear straw from McDonald's with a rolled up little feather out of it, and that breaks off as they preen, and then they have these beautiful tails. They're very iridescent. I like them. And they've got all of this interesting stuff here around their head. So this thing is called a snood. I've got a whole bunch up above me now. This thing hanging down here is called a snood, and the only thing I have found as a purpose is that the ladies think it's attractive, the lady turkeys, because I have seen them fight. We tried to keep 2 poults from last year, but Lazarus and his brother Brutus, they fought. He thinks I'm hurting his dad. I'm not hurting him. It's okay. You don't have to protect him. He's okay. He's very protective. But they fought, and when they fought, they grabbed a hold of each other's snoods and they pulled on it so hard, I cried because I thought they were going to hurt each other. It was terrifying. Now, when they're very relaxed, you're going to do it again. When they're very relaxed, this will shrink all the way up, and they will look very much like a unicorn. It makes just a little bump there. But when they're showing off, or when they're upset, when there's ladies around, or they're being protective, then they extend this all the way down. It's interesting. He's older. He's got crazy little hairs on the end of his, you know, kind of like those witch hairs, you know, that people might get on a mole, which is interesting. It's very warm. There's a lot of blood rushing through here, and this will change colors. If they get very upset, I know he doesn't want to kill me because his head's not blue. When they get very upset, this will be a real blue or white. When they're just chilling and they're totally relaxed, it can be all red. These little bumpy things, these are called caruncles. Okay, I think I will, they do have little ears here, a little ear hole, there's little hair around it. I will let him join the rest of them. His chest looks big, but he's puffing it up with air. It's hollow, like a drum. So I will let him go back to his flock so they will stop being mad at me, and so you can see him all feathered out. If you keep watching the rest of the video, I'll put a lot of video clips on of all the crazy things that they have done around here. We've really enjoyed them. They're a fun animal to have around. I think that's about all I was going to say. Oh, she doesn't lay eggs every day like a chicken. In the wild, when chickens used to be wild, they didn't lay eggs every day. It was just for breeding purposes. That's something that we've bred into them. And so Scarlet Grace lays eggs 2 or 3 times a year. The first time she did was because they're very sensitive to light. And in our little coop, we had a red heat lamp because they're very sensitive to being cold. And the red heat lamp burned out, and the one I put in there, the only one they had at the store, was a light. So 24 hours of daylight. She's like, oh, it's spring. So it was February when she decided to lay some eggs in there. And we went ahead and ate those eggs because we weren't going to raise little babies in the middle of the winter. And they tasted fine. You can't cook them sunny side up, though, because the yolk is very, very dense. In my YouTube videos, I have a video about the yolks, and if you want to check out eggs. But yeah, we ate them, and then the next time she found a place out in the flower beds to have her little nest, and she didn't know what she was doing the first time. Didn't sit on it consistent, and didn't have any hatch. But she has successfully raised 2 broods. And she's a very good mom, and that's the first time I've seen one get all the way up in the tree like the wild ones do. She is clear up there. The broad-breasted ones don't fly because they're out of proportion, and their chest is too heavy, and they can't get up in the air. But these guys definitely can. Wild ones fly up into the trees for protection. And if you happen to be in the woods in the early morning, deer hunting, or just sitting out there, you'll hear this thump thump sound as they fall down. They're not very graceful as they fall down. But these guys, we've not given them lots of yard time because our dog likes to chase them. But that's why she's having fun up there. I say she. I don't know if the babies are boys or girls. Really, really hard to tell. You have to be an expert, and it's still a guess. You just kind of have to wait until they reach that maturity level, and then the boys will start to strut. And none of these 5 have started to strut, so I'm kind of thinking they've already passed that point. We might have 5 hens here. One very curious one. So hope you enjoyed this, and there's some more videos, clips that we'll put at the end about turkeys. Enjoy!